sorry.
Hey Factionistas, and welcome back to the 31 Days of Halloween, a new video every day in October. Oh yeah. Today is a collab with the one and only my BFF Jordan Hanz. We did these little undead king and queens. That'll be super fun. We were super inspired by Nazgul or Ring Wraiths from Lord of the Rings, you know, wispy undead ghost king and queen. Super awesome. I'll have all of Jordan's information linked down below, so definitely go subscribe to her and watch her video. Duh. Alright, so I'm jumping in with the Makeup Forever Flash palette, and I'm mixing black, white, and brown together to get a nice neutral gray tone, which you see here, and I'm applying this all over my body. I'm starting with my body first, because whenever I do anything that's really intense on the body, or it needs some like detail and skill, I like to do my body first, because once I'm done with my face and I move on to my body, I'm usually so done that I, half-ass the body. So I like to start with the body first when I'm doing something intense. And I also apply this to my face, so this is a very frustrating filming day for me. I end up taking off what I did on my face, later on in the video, so I'm just going to show you the chest, but we take off the face. So what you want to do is you want to grab a cream white. I'm using the same one from the Flash palette, and I'm just sketching in these bone shapes. I'm creating a little bit of a sternum, I think that's called, and a little bit of a rib cage. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the brush onto the beginning of the bone, and then I'm sweeping it all the way along. That's going to give you a more pigmented and more white stark shade in the beginning, and then it's going to taper out on its own. But I'm just creating this little skeleton shapes as you see here. So if there's a little bit of a reference, if drawing bones isn't, come natural to you, just kind of watch what I'm doing, but you're just creating that, central ribcage motion. You know what I mean? And then we're going to shade it so it looks like it's sunken in. Not so much a skeleton bone, but like sunken in, like I'm just real skinny and dead. So I'm going with this Visor palette, which is this nice neutral gray shade. It's a nice neutral shade shade. So just grab a nice neutral gray shade, and you want to just apply that all around where we created these bones. That's going to add depth and dimension, but it's going to make it look like you're sunken in. You know what I mean? Instead of filling it with black, filling it with black would mean you're just kind of a skeleton, and that would be a negative space. We're not doing any negative spaces here. We're kind of just trying to shade and enhance these highlights so we look like a little bone skeleton. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going one shade darker with another gray eyeshadow, and we're going to enhance certain areas of that bone to make it look even more depthful. It's going to look real depthful. So you want to just add that gray eyeshadow to deepen up any of these areas and add more. I'm not going to say the D word anymore because I need a new vocab. So I'm starting to apply this with eyeshadow first, and it started to get real scratchy. So now you can see I'm switching to a gray paint. I'm using that Flash palette, and I mixed it up to kind of get me a same gray shade, and I'm applying it over those areas because it blends out beautifully when you're blending out in very large areas. So if you're ever shading the body, I would suggest using a cream paint. So I'm just adding that gray, I blend it out, and now I'm adding white in the middle of those two, in the middle of that bone and that shadow, and then I'm creating a little bit of white lines, and then we're going to do some gray lines in between. You're just going to blend that in, and that's going to make the illusion of that movement where it's almost like pulling skin, and it's a very quick way to get a nice detail that you didn't have to actually spend, thousands. I wouldn't have do this if it was like, I was on Face Off, but if you guys are just going for a cute little Halloween costume, it's a really great way to add movement in skin. So I'm just doing that also to the shoulders to tie in this whole undead body. So once you get there, I remove this off my face, and I'm taking this purple eyeliner, this one's my Makeup Forever, and I'm sketching out the overall design. I have my eyebrows pre-glued down, but you guys can watch some of my older videos because I can teach you how to do that. But I'm just sketching out a traditional skull bone shape. I wasn't initially planning on making this a skeleton, but you know what? It just did, because I love me a skull, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And by now, it's like 2 in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I just need to crank out something that I know I can do and not just spend any more time on this. So I'm just creating a little bit of a top cheekbone and all that good stuff, blending it into temples, and then I'm also going to do bottom jawline as well, and then that nose. You guys know what I'm doing here. So I'm grabbing a gray face paint, and I'm going to start applying in the foundation shade of those bones. So I'm going into all that bone areas, and I'm just filling it in. Super traditional, super basic stuff. Just fill all that bad stuff in. When I get to the glued down eyebrows, I'm really pushing it in so it gets into all those cracks and crevices, and that's going to give a better illusion that you don't have eyebrows at all. So you really want to just work it in that brow area. And then once I get to the forehead, I'm switching to a bigger brush because there's no need. So I'm taking that same gray face paint and I'm mixing it with a little bit of darker gray, and with a liner brush, I'm just making streaky lines super out of frame. So you just want to keep doing this over and over until it has its very full coverage and filled in all the way, but doing with that lines is going to add a little bit more texture as opposed to just filling it in with gray. And then I'm going in with black face paint, and I'm kind of outlining that bone shape, but I'm also bringing it up into those sharp points to add a little bit more interest to this makeup, so it's not just traditional bones, but with that black, I'm just sweeping it in over and over. So now you guys can see it's like a little bit more scratchy, and it's not as blank. And then I'm finishing it off with white, just in case it's a little too dark. I go in later on and I make it even lighter with gray face paint, but I didn't want to just fill it in like I normally do. I wanted to add a little bit more interest, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So once you do that on both sides, I'm taking that white cream paint again and I'm highlighting the cheekbones. You want to just really get that highest point and then blend it out up and down. And that's going to give you a more dimensional look, and you're going to look like you got cheekbones popping. From there, just move on to the nose, and then you're also going to want to carry that into the eyebrows as well, making sure to really push it in to really, push down that brow cover even more. And then now I'm going to start filling in the white teeth with a little bit of white face paint, and then I'm going to be totally ADD and start shading in my cheekbone. As I told you guys, I'm like totally fried over here, and I'm just like, step 1, step 15, back to step 1. So I'm just lightening that up with gray eyeshadow, and then I finish painting in the teeth. I don't know what I was thinking. But once the teeth are fully painted in, I'm going over with a light gray eyeshadow so they're not stark white, because it doesn't really flow with the rest of the makeup since we're doing like a very monochrome look. So now with these cheekbones, I'm going in with a gray eyeshadow and I'm sweeping them up in elongated triangles. I really want to add dimension and depth into this, but it looks like it's almost cracked, but it's really sunken in. So once you get that shadow in, you're going to re-enhance with a thin liner brush to create like almost crack lines in the middle, and that's going to give you a lot of multi-dimensional texture. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like doing 31 videos in 31 days is making me very conscious that I use the same 5 words in every single makeup look, and it makes me hate myself. But once you finish that, we're going to also take that same liner and you're going to outline all of these teeth. So you want to essentially just outline it the way you drew it before, but you want to create a little bit of a sharp triangle at the top of each tooth. And I think that just makes it look a little bit more menacing. You know what I'm saying? But of course, creative freedom. If you guys want to recreate this, do it however you see fit. Change whatever little pieces. But when you get to the bottom teeth, I'm making them very broken. So you guys can see I'm like kind of sketching out almost half of that white tooth in different varying shapes for every tooth, so they just look broken and messed up. So you guys can see here that they're a little bit out of whack, So then once you do that, you want to just fill in any skin tones that are showing with some gray eyeshadow, a darker gray, almost black. You also want to do the same thing to the temples. I outlined it with the black face paint with that liner, and then I'm just blending it out with gray. And then while I have that gray in my hand, I'm going to start etching in and contouring the face. So I'm doing the sides of the nose, and I'm also sweeping it around the cheekbones, but then I'm going to create a very menacing shape in the brow. So I'm kind of sweeping it up into a side temple on the outer brow, and then sweeping it forward in the inner brow, and I'm also elongating it up. If you guys can see that it's almost like a 45-degree angle pointed down towards my nose, and that's going to give a more angered expression. Then you're going to want to fill in the nose with gray face paint, and then I'm just contouring around the sides of it with a gray eyeshadow again, and then you want to finish it off by using that thin liner brush with some black face paint to really outline that nose in, and that's going to give you a lot of depth, and it's going to look real fancy. And then I think I jump back to the eyebrows. I don't know. I'm like all over the place. So I'm popping in some black scleras. I'll have them linked in the description box below. They're from scleralenses.com. And I'm taking a gray cream paint now and I'm applying that to my lids. And then I'm going to immediately set it. You guys know that I have hooded eyelids, so stuff really likes to break up and crease on my eye. So I'm just setting it with a ton of loose powder. And then I'm going in with the same eyeshadows. I'm still using the same Visor palette, by the way. I'm using 3 eyeshadows this entire makeup look with a black face paint. And I'm sweeping that in my crease to add a little bit of dimension, and then going in with a darker gray, not black, but almost, and I'm sweeping that in to finalize it. And then I'm shading in the lower lash line. I'm only doing the outer corner, sweeping it into about the middle of the lid. I think it adds more interest when it has a little bit of light in the inner corner, but darkness on the outer corner. So I'm just enhancing that with the same shades and going in deeper and deeper and deeper. And then once you get it really black, I'm applying black eyeliner only to the outer waterline, and then sweeping in these tear marks, almost with your eyes are closed, or if you're looking down, it looks like he's crying, like very sharp black tears. Or it just adds a little bit of dimension if you think the cheekbones are a little too flat up there, since there is so much going on that jawline with the lines. And this is me just kind of contemplating life and staring at it. So now we're at my favorite part of any makeup look, and that's kind of like final shading. So I'm going in and I'm creating a little bit of like an eye bag, since this is kind of translating it to be like an old dead king. Like he's very old man when he died. I'm just shading in the smile lines and the bottoms of the, eye bags and all that stuff to really get like an aged feel. So I'm just using the same eyeshadows to just sweep those in and then around the nose and all that stuff and really just define that scary little face. Now our final steps is to take cream white face paint. I'm going to highlight. So I'm just highlighting all the highest points of the face. The brows, the cheekbones, the center of the nose, all of that good stuff, the middle of the chin, jawline, all of it. And then for the very last step, I'm just adding a little bit of black to the body to add, a little bit of darkness, since the body is a little bit more gray and there's a lot of black going on in the face. I wanted to just tie that in by deepening up everything that we had done on the body just to make it a little bit darker. But that's a finished tutorial, my friends. I'll have where I got the crown linked in the description box, as well as the sheets. Me and Jordan both got these fabrics from Hobby Lobby, but I'll also have all of Jordan's social links linked down below too, so definitely give her a follow, watch her video, and, get a little undead king and queen going for your Halloween costume this year. We love you so much, and we really hope you guys like this video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye, friends.